have to pull off one, do we, here? Yeah, note taker. Gotta wait for Melissa to take our notes here.
My son's going. I'm going as an honest.
You should mention anything about past employee.
Can do that in the recognition. Deserves that. Mhm. Going to wait a few minutes to get some other agendas printed up, and then our minute taker will be here too. Sorry. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Call the City Council meeting to order for Tuesday, October 22nd. And for the invocation tonight, we have Reverend Bodie from Peace Lutheran Church. Thanks for coming back again.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the opportunity to provide the invocation. Let us pray. Dear Lord, you have provided all that we need for a productive and meaningful life. You have done this for us personally, and you have done this for our community of Hutchinson. You have given those who have the ability to provide leadership, such as the members of the City Council. You have given those who teach in our schools and college. You have given those who serve as police officers and firefighters, the medical professionals, and all those who provide support for our community. You have given to us citizens who care for the welfare of one another and also for our community at large. And we are truly thankful for these your gifts, and we pray that we might continue to be aware of your goodness and that we might devote ourselves more fully to serving one another and the community in which we live. We ask all of this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you. Next is the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next is recognition of gifts, donations, and community service. Anybody have anything tonight?
Oh.
Well, I just have one thing. For all of those who were involved with getting the mural put up on our Quaddies building, a big thank you, because I know there were a lot of people who were involved with it, and people donated their time to help get it up. Mm-hmm. And if you've driven down Main Street, take a look at it. It is quite stunning.
Yeah.
And Steve, I want to personally thank you, because I think without your perseverance, it might not have been up this soon. So,
Well, like you said, a lot of people were involved. And
Right.
We are actually going to have a dedication. I was going to mention that later, but it'll be this Friday at 4 o'clock down by the mural, so if anybody's interested. But just talk about some of the people that are depicted on it and their significance, but then also to thank different people for their involvement in that. So turned out really nice. And so
absolutely.
okay.
That's it.
Anything else? No? Bill?
I would like to recognize Randy DeFries, who passed on since our last meeting. Randy was, I'd say, a friend of ours. He head of the water and wastewater plants, and Randy went at too young age, let's put it that way, and I think everybody that knew him will miss him. So I'd just like to recognize Randy DeFries, past employee.
Thanks, Bill. Yeah, that was really a shocking news. Okay, anybody else? If not, then we have our period for public comments, and if there's anybody in the audience that would like to address the council on something, we just ask that you come forward and give your name and address.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. My name is David Allen. I live at 12552 200th Street in Hutchinson, Hale Township. I'm here to talk about the comprehensive plan. I would like to urge the council to delay implementation of the comprehensive plan and ask for more public input and discussion about it. There are a number of reasons for this. I think there have been some changes reflected in it and some issues raised by it that there hasn't been an adequate opportunity to discuss. One example, on May 4th, Mr. Mayor, in a response to a letter actually I wrote in the leader, you wrote a letter and said the Imagine Hutchinson report was not a government plan, it was a community plan. And when the comprehensive plan came out a few weeks ago, it in fact says the Imagine Hutchinson report is a government plan and will be part of considered part of the comprehensive plan. That's a change. I think it needs to be discussed. I think there's a lot of concern about the Imagine Hutchinson report, whether it's a good plan and to what extent it's influenced by perhaps private interests in conflict with public interests. And I think those issues need to be better discussed. I think there are also a number of other issues that perhaps other people will comment upon. Thank you.
Thanks.
William Christensen, Hutchinson Township Supervisor. The Hutchinson Township has sent a letter to the city regarding our concerns. They haven't bothered to call us, talk to us, or anything about this. We just wanted to have some time to discuss the annexation. There's several thoughts about annexation in there, and we're not the only township that's worried about this. We think it should be a little more open. I mean, to not even give us a call back, talk to us, or see what our concerns were was very disappointing. I mean, this is a joint powers agreement, and then just ignore us like that and not even talk to us. I said, I'm deeply hurt.
I'll just respond to that. This isn't a joint powers agreement. And then my understanding was that all township supervisors were provided a letter, sent a letter with a link to the comprehensive plan for the review, as well as other updates throughout the joint planning process. And then, of course, the joint planning public hearing as well. So I understand, wanting to have some input. It is provided there were opportunities, but then in the end, the annexation that was talked about, I know at several meetings that the whole purpose, or I think the intent with the comprehensive plan update is where we're going to try to infill and redevelop property within the city. Our intent isn't to annex. It never has been to annex. The only time we've annexed is when people and property owners have come and asked the city to annex property into the city. The city's never gone out and taken property. So we understand the annexation piece, and we're sensitive to that. But, and I think it has to be a part of the comprehensive plan because situations come up that have to be addressed. Sometimes people will come before us.
I got my letter 5 days before our meeting. It was 200-some pages when you put the two books together, and several, the way I read this, and I had an attorney look at it, it gives the city the power to annex. And nobody's
Oh,
really
it does.
discussed that.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. I mean, the city
Yeah.
always has an opportunity.
Hey,
That's
that-
state law that
yeah.
allows for that. So,
Yeah, but
But-
you,
okay,
so,
so, thanks. Just one question or comment here. You know, this isn't a public hearing for the comp plan. We had opportunities before, two for the planning commission and one for the joint planning. So I don't want to give the impression that it's going to be open for debate and, like I said, a public hearing. That's not what this is for, so.
Should I sit down?
Well, if you just keep it brief, so.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. My name's Jumbo Beer. I'm from 20926 Skyview Avenue, Coma Township. And I guess one of the things I'm kind of wondering about is I live in Coma. I was not communicated through a Coma Township, this information. And my big thing is, when we're here a month ago, we're going to take more time. I thought, you guys have taken some leadership to reach out to consultants and things like this, and artists and everybody else like that to have meetings. I was kind of hoping you'd be reaching out to us to call a meeting and kind of find out what our thoughts and concerns were. I thought that was going to be an outlet, and unfortunately, that hasn't happened. I guess one thing on the joint planning thing, supposedly, I'm in the annexation area of Acoma Township that's next up, and I thought there was an obligation with the joint planning thing that we would have a chance to, participate in that. From what I understand, the joint planning board did not vote on this, and, we didn't even go to the townships or whatever. So it kind of creates the illusion of a joint planning board, except in this case, there's a lot of things in there that affect us. And annexation's mentioned many times. There's a lot of things in there that we're supposed to support as part of this, and we just haven't had a chance to discuss it. So that's my concern.
Okay, thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
My concerns deal with
Name and address, please.
Craig Bishop. I live at 221 Fremont here in Hutchinson, down by the hospital. My concerns deal with the comp plan, and I would hope that we have a group of people that we put together some comments about the comp plan, and we have 18 pages of comments and also 134 different comments we found about the comp plan. And I think they're well thought out comments. We went through, we looked through the plan, and we just have some concerns about the plan. As if some of the other mentioned 9 times as many annexation is mentioned in the plan. We have some concerns about that.
You
Also,
want
some
to hand that to us then?
Yeah,
Do we have a
if-
copy?
Yeah, you talk to me afterwards and we can, yeah. Also, I'll appreciate a possibility of maybe having a meeting with us so we could just talk about this. The other thing is some concerns about some of the language in the plan. One, the Imagine Hutchinson says convert Park Elementary into a live-work art studio. I wondered if people realize that part of the Imagine Hutchinson plan is to convert and shut down the, I wonder if that's part of the, if people are aware of that. Also on page 47 of the plan, encourage 25% of all new residential development to locate downtown. That's kind of a concern to us. How is the city supposed to manage 25% of the downtown? Couple of other concerns we have. Identify native prairie and encourage expansion of native prairie. Where it's in Hutchinson are there native prairies? And we're just wondering, why is that in the plan? Solar power, we're wondering what that has to do with anything, and then why is that in the plan? So I just think there's some concerns. We have trails are mentioned 57 times in this plan. Also, public art is mentioned quite a bit in this plan. How much is this going to cost the residents of Hutchinson? So those are just some concerns we have, and we're just hoping we could talk to some people about it. Okay? Thank
Do we
you.
have a copy now?
I have a copy. You can talk to me afterwards. Okay? Thank you.
Well, if you want to submit a copy, you do it now, all right?
Okay.
So, And as far as the Imagine Hutchinson plan, that's already been adopted by the city. A lot of those things are going to be opportunity-based. We're obviously not going to ask the school district to close Park Elementary or build a new school. Now, however, if in the future that happens or becomes a reality, then here's an alternative use that it could be used for, possibly. One.
It's part of the plan.
Yeah, but again, it's not saying that all these things are gonna happen. It's just things that were identified, and that was actually part of the downtown plan in 2002, and other things that had been talked about. So, again, it's just ideas, really, that got captured. It doesn't mean they're gonna happen, or when they're gonna happen. They're ideas that got brought up that seem to make some sense, and if the opportunities present themselves, then they'll be looked at more. But I think it's important to keep that in mind. Obviously, spending is going to be a factor of that, part of any discussion that takes place on any project, just as it is now through our capital improvement plan that we talked about. And so, and all that's done right here at the council meetings. City council workshops, just like we had before, when you're coming in earlier. You're having workshops on the some of the enterprise funds. So there'll be ample opportunity for all types of things, you know, to talk about when and if they actually become part of the discussion. So. Okay, anything else?
Hello, my name's Anthony Will. I'm a local business owner. I'm a partner in Broadband Corp. Located on Highway 7. My comments are in regards to the comprehensive plan, and actually it's if you could clarify. Did I hear you correctly when you stated that the comprehensive plan itself has been incorporated into the city plan via vote of the city council
No.
at this time already?
No.
Okay, that's what I
Imagine
thought that's what you...
Hutchinson, the Imagine Hutchinson plan.
Okay, so there's two separate things that you were discussing there then.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so then that clarifies that point. This is the first council meeting I've been to in Hutchinson.
That's fine.
And it seems to me that there's obviously some concerns among your constituency. And it seems that, to me, as kind of an outsider looking in, I actually live in Brownton, the city of. But
Can I have a show of hands? How many people are Hutchinson residents? Okay, that's good.
and like I said, I actually own a business here in town, so I feel I have reasonable standing here.
Yeah.
So to that point, it seems like you've had an appropriate, some meetings and things like that to bring this plan and things to the constituency's attention and allow for input and things like that. But it seems like there's definitely some things that still maybe need to get ironed out. And I would just request of the city council that they maybe do an additional meeting or have the planning council set up another public hearing of some sort, just so that possibly the townships might be able to get involved, who are affected. Things like that just seems like it would be prudent. But that's just my comment. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Anybody else? All right. If not, we've got minutes, and we've got the regular meeting for October 8th. Are there any additions or corrections? Or a motion to approve?
I so move.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Bill, second by Mary to approve the minutes. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the consent agenda. Item A is resolutions and ordinances. Item 1 is resolution number 14201, a resolution certifying special assessments to McLeod County. Item 2 is resolution number 14202, a resolution approving City of Hutchinson Burns Manor real estate declaration. Item B is consideration for approval of allowing temporary parking on Sherwood Street Southeast on October 31st and November 2nd, 2013. Item C is consideration for approval of appointments to the Public Arts Commission. Item D is claims, appropriations, and contract payments. Anything anybody like pulled off separately? I think we've got A2. There's a update or corrected version, and then also the claims. Okay. So, anything else? Not much this time. So.
I'll second.
Motion by Chad, second by Gary to approve the balance of the consent agenda. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, A2 is Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had you pull this off the consent agenda because the version that was originally contained in your packet had a slight mistake in the legal description of the declaration portion of the document, and so a corrected version's been placed before you tonight for your approval.
Okay. Any other questions? Hopefully this will be it on that whole deal. huh?
Hopefully.
I move for approval.
I'll second.
Motion by Bill, second by Mary to approve. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then item D is the claims. Jeremy?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. On the original check register that was sent out in the packet, there were 3 additional checks that hadn't been cut at the time the original register went out. So what you have in front of you tonight is a revised register with 3 additional claims on there, our payments to be made. 2 of them are the 2 big ones are the ones that we cut for the Fire Relief Association. Every year, we collect state aid dollars from the state, and then those dollars filter through the city and then are issued to the Fire Relief Association to pay monthly pensions and annuities. So we've cut that check that we received from the state to the Fire Relief Association, and then in addition to that, the city and rural's contribution to that Relief Pension Association. So those are the 2 big ones that we wanted to get on by the end of October, so that October and November pensions can be paid for retired firefighters without having those guys pull their investments out early to make those monthly annuities. So we wanted to get those in by the end of October. So I did get receipt of records on that from the treasurer of the Fire Relief Association to make that, so we put those checks in.
Do I have to abstain from that, Jeremy?
I would say yes, since you're a pensioner.
I move for approval.
Okay. Have a second?
I'll second that.
Gary will abstain. So motion by Bill, second by Chad. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That's it for the consent agenda. We don't have any public hearings tonight. Under communications, requests, and petitions, we have an annual update on the Southwest Initiative Foundation, and with us tonight is Cheryl Glazer.
Mayor Cook, council members, my name is Cheryl Glazer. I am with the Southwest Initiative Foundation. I am also a resident of Hutchinson at 820 Ash Street Northeast. Thank you so much for your time tonight to be able to provide you with a little bit of an overview of the foundation and some of our recent work. As you may know, the Southwest Initiative Foundation serves 18 counties of southwest Minnesota. We recently went through a branding initiative, gave ourselves a more friendly yet professional look, which we feel matches our image well. And we have a new tagline. We are a single connection offering unlimited possibilities to grow and promote the people, businesses, and entrepreneurs and communities of rural southwest Minnesota. We were established back in 1986 along with the McKnight Foundation, along with 5 other initiative foundations across greater Minnesota. We were set up in the beginning because of the farm crisis back then as a way for the McKnight Foundation to help support greater Minnesota and make the communities there more vibrant and strong. Our board of directors comes from a wide variety of backgrounds and from all across the region. We recently passed the torch to a new board chair, Rob Saunders. He is a certified public accountant in Bird Island, Minnesota. And we also recently recognized some board members for leaving the board, and that includes Chris Remicall here from Hutchinson. We welcome 3 new members, Mary Martins with Avera Health in Marshall, Patricia Doles of Wilmer, and Bob Taubert is a farmer in Pipestone, Minnesota. The current net assets of the foundation total $61 million, with half of those assets being in our general endowment. The general endowment is what allows us to provide the greatest flexibility to respond to future needs and opportunities of our southwest Minnesota communities. The fastest growing piece of this pie is our community foundation and designated fund assets. We're really excited to see these growing because how these assets are spent are completely determined by local community members. This growing piece of the pie, however, would not be possible without the base of the general endowment, because it is what allows us to serve as the vehicle for charitable giving through these designated and community funds. First of all, I want to thank the City of Hutchinson and the Hutchinson Economic Development Association for their past support. We really appreciate your support not only as a public faith test, but as partnership in the work that we do. In just the past year alone, the Southwest Initiative Foundation invested over $100,000 in loans and grants that went to Hutchinson businesses and organizations. With your recent budget commitment, that would equate to about a 20-to-1 return on investment. So we hope that you'll continue to support us and that you find that that is true value. And that is just in dollars alone, not in additional benefits by keeping the businesses running who we supported through loans, etc. In addition, we remind you that your contributions were matched dollar for dollar by the McKnight Foundation, which doubles the impact of the investment. Again, we are very grateful for your support and look forward to continuing to work with you long into the future. The annual budget for the foundation is around $5 million to support our work and the various initiatives that we offer, and this does include loans and grants as well. The revenues to support that budget, 5% of our spending allotment of our general endowment supports about 26% of another 34% of our budget is supported by program revenue and earnings. That includes our loan program interest and earnings. We continue to be supported by the McKnight Foundation, but we are really excited to see the growth and support from local and private resources. Again, we have seen significant growth in our community and designated fund giving and general endowment giving over the past several years. These funds demonstrate our commitment to building endowments that will benefit the region into perpetuity. In addition, since our grant making is typically targeted to projects related to our current priority areas, these community foundation and designated funds fill a valuable niche by funding priority projects that are important to communities, but maybe don't fit with our current granting criteria as set by our board of directors. We are pleased to serve as the vehicle to make this happen in Hutchinson and all communities across our region. In our recent fiscal year, the Southwest Initiative Foundation offered many unlimited possibilities for leadership, relationship building, economic, and social growth. Here are just a few highlights of our work, some of which I'll talk about further in a moment. You can see that our work has a broad range of not only grants and loans, but also a variety of programs and initiatives that really support the community. In just the past year, we processed and awarded nearly $50,000 in grants that benefited Hutchinson programs and organizations. Here are just a few examples of some of the recent grants. These grants supported a variety of initiatives and projects, from emergency and family crisis services to a greenhouse for the ag science classes at the Hutchinson High School. Several grants were also awarded in partnership with the Hutchinson Community Foundation. Listed here are just a few examples of those grants, which included improvements for the River Song Festival by constructing a roof on the stage there, and funds to United Way of McLeod County to provide a book each month to McLeod County children. Since our inception, the foundation has helped more than 600 different businesses start or expand through our business finance programs, which has created or retained more than 7,800 jobs. We provide a variety of customized resources and tools to assist businesses at all levels in our region, whether they are aspiring entrepreneurs or existing business owners ready to expand and grow. Some of the resources that we provide, one of them is the CORE website, Center of Rural Entrepreneurship. That website has received both state and national awards for its resource that it provides to entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs can go to that website and take business planning classes online without working at their own schedule, at their own time. It helps them walk through how to create a business plan. It helps them with things like social media and marketing skills. That website is widely used as a resource. It gets over 10,000 hits per month. We are very pleased also to have started the social media breakfasts across the region, one of which is held here in Hutchinson, and we know that in partnership with other agencies and organizations in town, that's really become a well-attended opportunity for entrepreneurs. We are pleased to have Anthony Hansen of Citizens Bank and Trust in Hutchinson serve on our loan committee. In McLeod County alone, we have awarded 95 loans totaling nearly $3.7 million. Listed here are a few of the businesses we have worked with more recently in your area. We are very proud to help and grow and promote these entrepreneurial and economic development opportunities in Hutchinson. Our microenterprise program has actually provided since 2001 has provided 41 businesses with a loan. And I think it's important to note that of those 41 businesses, only 5 of them have failed. That's a really good success rate, especially for microloans. And we really believe strongly that is because of the technical assistance that goes along with these loans. Staff people who are committed to working alongside with these entrepreneurs to make sure that they're set up for success. Another important initiative of the foundation is having children that are ready to learn. That's a valuable economic impact in our communities for the future. So we, along with the other initiative foundations, created the Minnesota Early Childhood Initiative. It's a network of coalitions working to increase school readiness locally for children ages 0 to 5 and engage local citizens in advocacy and sound public policy for young children and their families. We currently support and guide 16 early childhood coalitions across southwest Minnesota. The one most local to you is the McLeod County Thrive Coalition. That one happens to be specifically focused on mental health issues for early childhood. And it is coordinated by Shelley Grorud and Terry Niemeyer. We provide leadership and resources for 3 years to help these teams assess community needs, identify gaps in services, and begin actually implementing projects. Thrive recently offered a well-attended workshop for child development educators focused on beating stress and incorporating inexpensive play ideas, and the group is working on evaluating next steps for further implementation of projects. We also offer a full array of options for donors to meet their unique philanthropic goals. Many donors find community and designated funds an attractive option because it allows them to stay involved in how the assets are spent without having to worry about the administrative responsibilities that go along with managing a fund like that. That can often become overwhelming for families and volunteers. So our community and designated fund partnerships are very important. We currently have 24 community foundation funds beneath us, or that work with us, and over 80 designated funds. These funds together have granted out more than $4 million back into the region, and many of them are now endowed so that they too can have a lasting impact in the region. Here's an example of some of the local funds that benefit the Hutchinson area. Again, this is the fastest growing area of our work, and we are really excited about that because they are the vehicles for how local community leaders can determine how assets are spent within their own community. The Hutchinson Area Community Foundation is one of our strongest funds, and we are very excited to continue working with them. Some of the things that we're currently working on at the foundation, one of them has to do with the wealth transfer that's expected to take place. There was a study done in the Boston area that said that at least $41 trillion will change hands as the baby boomer generation passes away and their heirs and charitable organizations reap the benefit of their wealth. This is a conservative estimate that was done for the entire country. What we did is the Minnesota Initiative Foundations replicated this study for Minnesota, and what they found is that the transfer of wealth in the 18 counties of southwest Minnesota alone between 2005 and 2030 is expected to be $4.5 billion. That's a lot of money, and so the foundation is actually working to help people understand the opportunity to give back to their local communities with that wealth. The study actually showed for McLeod County alone that there's over $440 million in wealth transfer by 2030. This is a conservative estimate, especially considering recent increases in value of land. So the goal of the foundation is to help people understand the potential to leave a legacy in their local community and the region. Imagine what capturing even just 5% of this could do for McLeod County. That's $22 million. That's real money. What we know is that many people have a charitable nature, but they don't think about that charitable nature extending beyond their life. And so the foundation is offering services and information to people so that they have a chance to not only give now, but also after their lifetime, and align their charitable giving goals with their overall financial and estate plans. Many giving plans even offer financial benefits, of course, to the donors through tax benefits and things like that. So this is really a way to provide future security, not only for them and their loved ones, but also for the community that they love, that they grew up in, or for local charitable organizations. One of our key strategies, along with this capturing of the transfer of wealth, because farmland is a big piece of that for our region, is that we've created the Keep It Growing program. This program is a model that allows the community foundations in the region or the Southwest Initiative Foundation to receive remainder interest in the donor's life estate, maintain ownership after the donor passes away, and if desired, they can create a designated memorial fund that will support the farmer's interests as well. There's a lot of flexibility in this program. They can retain income for their lifetime and support their heirs while receiving a maximum charitable tax benefit. And then the farmland retention option helps keep land in production, which is a growing concern for a region like ours that relies so heavily on agriculture as an industry sector. So we currently have more than 1,500 acres of farmland that we've actually accepted into this program. We are very excited. One of the stories is a farmer down by Cottonwood County who has told us several times that since that transaction took place, he probably wouldn't be able to maintain the rent of that land and keep farming it. He'd been farming it for 30 years, and he knows that if it would have just gone up for auction, he most likely would have lost out. So we've had a lot of good feedback on this. We're currently working with a family from the Lacoparo County area. Family members all moved away and were very successful and want to leave the farm that they grew up on to their local community foundation. And that's going to put nearly $1 million into that local community fund. So it's really exciting to think about the possibilities for landowners to give back to the rural communities that they grew up in. We also have a growing home circle that recognizes donors who make an annual contribution of $1,000 or more. But please know that every dollar counts. So we welcome all gifts to the foundation, no matter the size, and it all helps us do some of the many wonderful things that I've talked about tonight. The giving to the foundation, here's a slide that actually shows kind of where that giving goes. About 39% of it goes towards our general endowment. Again, that allows the greatest flexibility for us to respond to future needs and opportunities, as well as helps, about 5% of it annually helps to fund our annual budget. And then 49% of the contributions that we receive go towards those community designated funds. Again, it's a way for people to give back locally, and it's a way for them to, those designated funds, to be able to determine how those assets are spent. And then about 12% of the giving goes directly to specific programs or initiatives that we offer. Again, I'd like to thank the City of Hutchinson and Hutchinson EDA for their past contributions. Partnering with us is important, not only financially, but also showing your public faith in our work and helping others to understand the importance of the Southwest Initiative Foundation in maintaining the vibrant communities that we all love. If you'd like to know more about the foundation, we recently created a video that highlights 4 of our most impactful stories. We asked former board members and former loan clients and things like that what they thought were some of our best stories of support. And that includes Honor Flight in Southwest Minnesota, taking veterans out to Washington, D.C. to see the memorial. Starting a business in Grove City, entrepreneurs Harlan and Jerry Palm. Christian Community Outreach Center in Olivia, and then most locally, starting the Buffalo Lake Hector Stewart School Foundation with Ken Anderson. That's a really fantastic story. If you haven't heard that, I'd encourage you to go and check out the video. So we have 22 staff people, 11 of which are Hutchinson residents. And so I and all the staff of the foundation thank you for allowing me to provide you with this update. And at this time, if you have any questions, I would certainly do my best to answer them for you.
First, I just want to say that we're proud, to be the host and site for hometown for the Initiative Foundation, and just really see that as an asset, not just to Hutchinson, but to the entire region, obviously. But so if a new business is getting started, I know the EDA will help direct people to Southwest Initiative Foundation. There are other
Correct.
ways that people get the word
Yeah,
about some of the programs that you do offer?
With the business finance opportunities, we really work closely with the local banks. So if you
okay.
go to one of your local banks, you can ask them about the offerings through the Southwest Initiative Foundation, and most of them will have the information right there. Many of the banks, we work so closely with them that they actually have our loan applications right there in the bank
Yeah,
as well.
good.
Because we really do provide gap financing, so we want to partner with the local banks as much as possible. As far as the other programs and initiatives, I encourage people to check out the website. If you see a program that really strikes you and that you are interested in learning more about it, we as staff are always on hand. You can stop by our office anytime. We'd love to have people walk in and check out the building on the corner that everyone talks about. We welcome guests anytime. We have wonderful, friendly staff who are waiting there to greet you. And we just encourage people to get to know us more. Great.
This is a good way to do it with TV and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's nice.
anything else?
I know it works. I have a nephew who went through this program, and he has a very successful business, and he credits a lot of it due to you guys.
Well, thank you. That's nice to hear.
Anything else? Okay, thanks so much, Cheryl.
Thank you very much for your time.
Cheryl?
Next item B is update on the 2013 comprehensive plan process. I was at the last public hearing through the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission did forward it on to the City Council. Their recommendation was to forward it on with the miscellaneous corrections, typos added, as well as that one more significant item, right?
Yeah, changing a parcel from low-density residential to medium over near the high school.
I guess when I heard that, the council hasn't had an opportunity to review it or review the comments that were provided. And I just thought it would be a good opportunity to talk about that, and instead of providing copies of an updated version now or to the council, and then possibly going through some other revisions and adding cost to that, I just thought it might be more beneficial and more cost-effective if the council was just provided with copies of all the comments that were provided. Give us an opportunity to look it over as well, and then kind of go from there to see what, if any, changes we might want to see through that. And then just basically have one final copy made up that would ultimately be approved. So,
That would certainly reduce the cost of edits. Instead of having somebody go through and edit it 2 times, you'd be doing it once. The council could be provided the comments, like you said, and then also could just provide your general comments on the plan if there's things that you want to bring up as a group and indicate that you'd like to see change based on the comments or based on whatever the council feels. And then you could direct staff to make those changes, not approve it, but make the changes, and then a clean copy would come back once again to the council that you could consider for a final adoption.
sure. Mark, I see that as being
That sounds very reasonable to me.
So, maybe between now and the next meeting, all the comments can be
Yeah,
sent out?
we've been working on cataloging those, and there's several of them from the 3 public hearings that were held, and we're going to put those into a Word document and of the person that comment in the meeting that it was at, and catalog all those for the council hopefully for the 12th of November meeting.
We'll give you this, Mr. Bishop handed out too.
Yeah, if I could be provided a copy of that, that would be great. There was a couple of clarifications I think that might be helpful if you'd like me to
Sure.
just quickly to go through those. One of the clarifications I'd like to make from staff standpoint is that there is a Hutchinson Area Joint Planning Board. However, that board, Hutchinson has 1 representative on that board. It's not a City of Hutchinson board. The final decisions from that go to the McLeod County Board, and it's really its kind of own entity. So for instance, if that group wanted to do a comprehensive plan for their area, they certainly could. Or if the county wanted to do a plan for that area, they certainly could. But the plan that the City of Hutchinson is doing is just that. It's the City of Hutchinson's plan. So I think that's a point to keep in mind as we talk about this, because there is a joint planning area. However, that's its own separate entity. Other than having a member on that board that has a vote, the City Council, Planning Commission from Hutchinson really isn't involved with that. That's 1 of 6 votes that's on that group. The other piece about it is that the comprehensive plan as it's written does not have any plans for annexation shown. I believe the word annexation is listed in the plan 4 times. That's related to orderly annexation. And what orderly annexation is, it allows basically an agreement to be made between the city and a township of what the terms of an annexation would be in terms of compensation and such. So from the city standpoint, there's not a lot of advantage to the city to have necessarily orderly annexation. It's more to the township's benefit. So if that's something that is problematic, the city could, you take that out, because really that gives the township more power to negotiate an annexation if there is going to be one. So that's something to keep in mind. Just
The
as we move forward?
orderly annexation agreement provides that opportunity to the townships.
To the township. The city can annex based on a property owner requesting annexation.
Right,
There doesn't have to be an orderly annexation agreement.
right.
So if that's a hangup for either the council or residents or whatever, that's something that, from the city's standpoint, can be helpful, but most of the time, it's for the township benefit. And then the other piece of it is just on the, Imagine Hutchinson keeps getting referenced. The comp plan gives an overview of Imagine Hutchinson. It doesn't do anything more than that. It indicates it's a part of an appendix. However, that plan has been adopted. So from staff standpoint, it'd be helpful to separate those items. And it's just not, it's referenced in the plan, but it's not the plan. That's kind of like referencing the housing study. The comp plan isn't a housing study. That's a separate study that's been adopted. So those are just some clarification points.
Okay.
If you have any questions, please let me know.
Anything?
Is there any reason we can't have another public hearing on this subject, since there's so many, it seems like we have a pretty good audience here that have a lot of concerns that maybe, look at what they brought forward and maybe have another public hearing on it?
I think it would be helpful for us to be able to review first what was actually commented on.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
before we decide that.
Well, I think we can, look things over and have a public hearing on it then.
Yeah, there's been 3 public hearings and several other meetings, but if that's the wish of the council to have another one. Certainly, that's your discretion.
I think we need to see the comments first and go through everything.
So that would be my feeling as well. And based,
Can I ask if maybe you would ask one of us to sit in and explain our comments, or would that be just?
we're not going to have a meeting for that. Everything would be provided to us so that we could look over at the comments individually. So, Chad, Bill, any thoughts?
We've had 3 meetings already. I'd like to see the comments to see if it's new stuff or not. There's been a lot of opportunity for feedback already.
Bill, anything?
Well, I've sat in joint planning, I've sat in the planning commission, we did hear a lot, but there's still a lot of questions, and when we read all these sheets of paper, I think I told Jeremy this morning, that there's so many words in there that, to me, it's very boring. I mean, I can't believe all you people read every one of these things. Mustn't have too much to do or something. But there is a concern, and I think the group that's sitting here tonight, you do have a concern. And if us having another meeting, we don't get paid any extra, I'd say let's have a meeting. Let's have a good, clean meeting where nobody's calling anybody a name or anything else, and maybe answer some of these questions. I think the questions are, it's a city of Hutchinson plan, not a township plan. And as long as I've been on the township boards and the city council, never once has there been annexation just going out and take land away from townships. And I've emphasized this for years and years and years. We've never went out and taken any land from townships. It was usually requested by the owner of the land or a business that has bought a big piece of land out there. You take Walmart. They came to Lynn Township. That was the beginning of orderly annexation. Because no way can any township afford to go out and put in sewer and water, what they need out there. We orderly or didn't orderly annex, but we annexed property on Highway 22 and 7. This was requested by the landowners and the people that were going to build. We started our piping system to go out there. Then the recession came in and they quit their thing and going out there. So it's, if we can answer some of these questions and make you feel better about it, I'm a negotiator. I don't want to say you're all wrong, Steve is all wrong. We're all right. We're all going to get this thing ironed out. We're not going to be like the United States legislature, let's put it that way.
Well, I still think before we have any meeting that way, that we have an opportunity to review it and to be able to answer questions too. So at our next meeting, or we can decide when that will be, when you have the comments that are provided, and decide how we want to approach that. So, okay.
There is no speed zone of getting this done, is there? I know you've worked on it a long time. I'd like to get it off your desk, but
You guys call the shots, I just work here.
Yeah.
2 years, right? Been 2 years.
It hasn't been being worked on for 2 years. It has been, it started 2 years ago, but it stopped for well over a year. In total, it's been being actually worked on for maybe 14 months.
So how long before you can get all those comments to us?
Well, the comments are right there, and we've got the other ones. They just have to be cataloged off of the audio tape.
Okay.
So it takes some time.
Yeah, to me, I think some of the, I think getting the comments here is one thing. I think if you guys have follow-up questions based on
Right.
the comments, it's gonna take some time for staff to either go back and review or research some things and put that information together so that you guys have informed answers, and if there's a meeting that you guys decide to have, that there's informed answers to that as well, too. So, to me, that's where I see that probably a little bit more of the time will take is answering the question, based on the process and how that's transpired.
I think that's all they want is the questions answered, so, I mean, that's,
Well,
I think it's reasonable.
And I agree, but we need to be informed
Right.
so we can
Correct.
talk with them.
Correct.
so we'll just get it on a future council agenda
Yeah, let's
when
shoot
we're
for the
ready.
12th.
For the 12th?
Yeah.
That you'll have the stuff out before that, or they'll be provided to
Well,
us on the 12th?
either they could be provided in the packet for the 12th, or as soon as we're done with them, they could be provided, I can provide them to Jeremy and he can distribute them,
Okay,
whatever way you'd like.
all right.
As soon as we could get them, I would say.
Well, and in the meantime, finish reviewing the plan ourselves and how those comments fit in and things like that.
You said you have most of the current comments category.
Not most of them, we're working on the 3 meetings. The original plan was, I thought to have them for the 12th. So if it is to get it quicker, we'll move on those quicker to get a list compiled.
Well, I'm just wondering too, to help expedite things, if you have electronic copy of that,
I was gonna say, give me somebody's email, I could send you electronically, or if somebody can't.
have Dan give you his email that way, because if there's a lot of things, we can just
Yeah.
merge everything into one document
No
versus
problem.
typing it all in.
Yeah, just
Appreciate
give
that.
me a card and I'll forward it to you tomorrow, Dan. Thank you.
And for official public comment, do we need to know who is submitting that, the name and address?
I think Craig Bishop handed it off. Will you put your
So-
name on there?
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know if it was from a group or an individual, but perfect.
Anything else would be needed for that?
I don't think so. I think everyone else that attended meetings identified themselves and their addresses, so you should have all of that information.
But as far as this packet, just so there's a name,
You should be okay as long as he's saying, hey, he's submitting it, so.
yeah. All right, well, we'll have it on the agenda for our next meeting on November 12th.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I understand what's going to be on the agenda. So, on the 12th, your plan is to just have the comments, or you're going to have the comments and a meeting about incorporating those comments into a plan. I heard at one point someone wanted to have a workshop, someone wanted to have a meeting on the plan.
I think my understanding, just from what people said first, would be the 12th would be an opportunity for the council to ask some questions and give some comments back on things. And then if we want to set another meeting after that, we can do that at that meeting itself then. So now I guess the question would be, do we have we don't have a workshop scheduled for the 12th, do we?
Yes, we have the
That's the
enterprise
other
fund,
enterprise, yeah.
water, sewer, and stormwater. So.
I think the other part the council may want to consider is the Imagine Hutchinson piece. I believe a lot of the comments that we've received thus far are related to that document. If you're going to entertain those comments or not, or since that document's been already officially adopted by the city, is that something you're not going to entertain because of the fact that it's adopted and it's just being basically an overview of it in the comp plan as just as census data is in there as an overview, for instance.
Well, again, I think it's an updated plan or one that's already been adopted. It's unfortunate it's gotten pulled into this the way that it has. I don't see us opening that back up at all. So I think really it should be concentrated on the land use portion itself and the other associated pieces of that.
But I'm questioning now, didn't you say it referenced Imagine Hutchinson? It didn't use it as a chapter?
It talks about it as there's an overview of it, and then it talks about the full plan can be looked at in an appendix. And historically in Hutchinson, what's been done is there's a comprehensive plan like we have right here. Yeah. And then, for instance, the downtown plan, the transportation plan, the water plan, the sewer plan, that are their own documents and adopted individually have been listed as appendices to that document. So I think that's the best way I can answer that is that it's just an overview of that. You know, that plan has been adopted. That's, as far as I know, it's not going to be changed. So I guess if you are going to consider comments from Imagine Hutchinson, and be prepared to go back and make changes to the document then. And if you're not willing to do that, I would suggest then that you limit your comments to the comp plan, which was the intention of this, is this document right here. As it indicated, there's data from the U.S. Census in here that we've referenced. That doesn't mean we're adopting all the data from the U.S. Census. It just means that that's information in the plan.
Gary?
Well, actually, no, it's what's in the comp plan, based on what Dan just said.
All right. Okay, so does that help what you need? So again, it will be our first opportunity to give it some comments from the city council. And then from there, we'll decide where else we'll want to go with it. So we'll have another meeting, what that could be, what form that would be, and how that would be set up, and set a date for that if we're going to have one. So, anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Well, thanks for coming. Next is the unfinished business. We don't have anything under that. We don't have anything under new business. The governance section, we have several different reports. Item A is the Hutchinson Library Board minutes from September 23rd, 2013. Item B is the Parks Rec Community Education Board minutes from August 5th. And item C is the Hutchinson Housing Redevelopment Authority Board minutes from September 17th. And item D is the City of Hutchinson investment reports for September. Any comments on any of those? I know in the Park and Rec one, they had something about the pool upgrades, and again, there, it's not our minutes, but, you know, mentioned the range of options was like 4.2 to 4.9, but really it was a lot less than that if we just remodeled what we had.
It's about 1.2 to
4.9. Yeah. All right. Anything else, anybody? Miscellaneous. We have another opportunity for people in the audience if they want to address the council. So, okay. If not, then Mark, anything?
I don't have anything tonight.
Mary?
Just that the depot's looking really good. The Pavilion is up and it looks good over there. The painting's done on the building. It looks like,
Yep.
Like
You're all
it
set to
should.
go next year.
yep.
How much more of the roof, the roof get put on today?
Not all
The
of it,
metal?
No, there's still
Some of it?
yeah.
about a quarter of it, I think, so.
Yeah, it's about what I saw this
Yeah,
morning.
sure. You want it, if you know anything more?
I believe they'll be finished up early next week. They had to order some more supplies in,
Okay.
and they're waiting for those. It's, I believe, southern white pine, which they have to get from somewhere in the southern United States. So they're waiting for some lumber, and I believe they'll be done early next week. So the concrete may be an issue because of the curing of the concrete,
Yeah.
that may have to wait until spring.
Hmm.
I'm not 100% sure on that, but
Yeah, I talked with Lee a little bit that's on Monday about that, and some of the boards that have to be replaced before the metal sheet. So that's what the delay is on metal roofing. Some of the boards need to be replaced.
Yeah, I seen one of the guys looking at it, it was like, so,
Some,
little wavy.
some moisture issues and some rotting issues too, so we're getting some of that replaced before the metal stuff goes on. And then with the concrete, weather, it's gonna start getting cold, there's gonna be a lot of moisture. So we're gonna wait till the spring to put the concrete in, so we don't have issues with cracking.
Sure.
So, but we're getting late in the season
Matter
with
anyway.
the market anyway, so. Better exercise caution probably in the spring, when it comes out.
Bill, anything?
Yes, tentatively, Bob Rolander can correct me if helicopter's supposed to be dedicated on the 2nd of November.
Correct.
And there will be a ceremony at the helicopter site.
You have a time on that, Bob? Do you know?
The time I heard was 3:30,
3:30, okay.
unless it's been changed, that's the last time I had.
So, that's an important thing with that part. I do want to ask Dan, maybe he can tell us Lenny Rotlich's, how he's back in work yet, or recuperating?
Lenny's doing great. Be a couple more weeks before he's back, maybe a month or so, but Lenny's doing great.
Good. Another one of our employees that had a little blinker in a trip along the way. I guess that, we got the election, the 5th of November, school
School referendum vote.
referendum, so make sure there's only one voting place, and that's at the Civic Center, or the Rec Center out there, so make sure you take care of your obligation. That's it.
Good luck to all the Hutchinson sports teams that are still going.
You bet.
Nothing for me, thanks.
I just had the mural dedication. We talked about that. That'll be this Friday at 4 o'clock. And if people want to come, that'd be great. a little while ago, we talked about the plaque set up with council names, wasn't sure where. Came across something, I was like, oh, yeah.
I came across that too the other day about that. I hadn't got any more really response. I mean, it sounded like the council wanted to see something go up and didn't have any issues for that. So we've gotten the pricing for it. We just need to go ahead with the project and get stuff ordered and the flags and those things, so.
And the last thing I wanted to touch on was, Mark, you sent out a letter, to Mr. Colin Clark about the Imagine Hutchinson website and use of the name. And really asked that he change the name because it was really linked to and initiated through the Imagine Hutchinson, the downtown plan that the city and the EDA commissioned and will be using going forward for 10 years or so, kind of an update to the downtown plan that we had in 2002. So I didn't know if you wanted to add on anything.
Yeah, I think basically, just to touch on it briefly, people have come to the city of Hutchinson and also city staff and members of the family had expressed concern about the Imagine Hutchinson website, and also I understand a corporation had been set up with the name of Imagine Hutchinson that isn't affiliated at all with the city, and people had expressed confusion about who's running the website. The information on the website doesn't appear to be connected with the city of Hutchinson. And so I did write a letter to Mr. Clark asking him to stop using the name Imagine Hutchinson in his business and website activities. And hopefully he'll agree to do so.
I had followed up with a email to him yesterday, just kind of reiterating that it wasn't in any way, and it was stressed in your letter as well, that it wasn't intended to limit his ability to express his views in any way whatsoever. But there is a confusion, I think, with if people do a search with Imagine Hutchinson, you do it now, you come up with the downtown plan. There's links to the survey that was done in the past, as well then as, again, the current Imagine Hutchinson site, which it was interesting where there was one link to the survey, and you use that link now, and you don't go to the Imagine Hutchinson downtown plan site. It's the Imagine Hutchinson site as it currently is now. So just, again, respectfully asked him to consider changing the name just so that it would be associated with the downtown plan going forward and lessen any confusion that way. Unfortunately, the reply was, they didn't really seem to be willing to do that. At one point, it was, well, what's in it for us, and I closed by just saying that, I thought, again, we had been using that to start with as part of the downtown plan. And then this other site took the name and, has created this confusion and dual naming thing, and that it would just seem like, it would be easiest for everybody if the name got changed. He didn't see it that way. So just from that, I guess we'll have to decide if there's other opportunities or things we feel like we need to do or should do, because in the Imagine Hutchinson name with the downtown plan is part of this document that we're going to be marketing the city with or working with potential developers with in the future. And so there is a value and an interest for the city to do that, so again, just wanted to give update. If anybody's got any questions, or just direct that to Mark. Anything else? Not, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Bill, second by Mary to adjourn. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.